Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sabrina and I'm back with another Excel tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to be going through a few more string text functions in Excel. Now, I recently did do 2 other tutorials on string text functions. So if you missed that video and you'd like to watch those tutorials, then you can click on the link above and that will take you straight into that particular video. Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm going to be going through 4 different functions called LEN, find, search, and REPT. All right, so let's start off with the LEN function. Okay, so LEN basically returns the total number of characters in a text string. So if you look at my spreadsheet here, you can see I've got a table of data with a list of full names. And then next to each name, I have that person's contact details. Okay, so in the contact details cell, you can see I've got their area code, their phone number, and then I've also got their extension number in there as well. So if you wanted to know the number of characters that were in that cell, you could use the len function. So what you would do is you would type equal len, okay, then open bracket, and you just need to select the text. So I'm just going to select the cell with the text in, and that would add the cell reference number, and then you would close your bracket and then press enter on your keyboard to get the result. So there you go. Okay, so that tells me that there are 23 characters in cell B18. Okay, so that's the len function. Now you can actually copy and drag that formula down as well, just by going to the fill handle, which is the small green square on the bottom right-hand corner of the selected cell. So if you hover your mouse over the fill handle, you'll see a black cross. And then if you just double click into that cell, all right, you can now see that the rest of the cells have also filled in, and all of the cells have got 23 characters in them. Okay, so that's the len function. Now the next function here is called the find function. Now what find does is it basically returns the position of a specific character in a text string. Okay, so let me explain this to you as an example. So if you look at my contact details, you'll see that the extension number, okay, for each person is placed in different places. So for example, for the first person, it's towards the end, but if you go down and go to the second person, the extension number is the first part in that text string. But then when you go down to the third person, it's actually in the middle. So it's the extension number is scattered around. So in order to find out where the extension number is in that text string, you can use the find function. Okay, so what you would do there is you would type equal find, okay, and then type open bracket. Right, now what you'll find is just below, it will suggest a function to you, and then it will tell you what you need to enter in or what arguments you need to complete to fulfill this formula. Now the first argument is find text. So here you need to enter the character that you want to find in the text string. So in my scenario, I want to look for the extension number, okay, which starts off with the letter E. So I'm just going to go for the letter E and put that in the formula. So again, when you're putting in a text that you're looking for, you should always put that character in between quotation marks. So I'm just going to enter a quotation mark and then enter the letter E and then close that with another quotation mark. Okay, so you would enter the character that you are looking for in that text string. You would then type comma, and then the next argument in that function is within text. So within text is basically where do you want to do the search? Which text string do you want to search? So in my case, I want to search the whole text string here, okay, in cell B18. So I'm just going to select that cell, and that would input the cell reference number. Okay, so that will then search for the letter E in the text, okay, which is contained in cell number B18. Okay, now the last function is start number, which is optional. You don't need to add this in, but start number basically is where you would specify where you want the search to begin from. Okay, the number of character that you want to begin your search from. Now, if you don't put anything at the end, it will start from the first character. Okay, so it'll basically start the search from the beginning. So I'm just going to leave that blank, and I'm going to close my bracket to complete the function, and then you would press enter on your keyboard. Okay, and there you go. So this is now telling me, the result is telling me that the letter E is on the 16th position of that whole text string. Okay. All right, so that's that one. Now, again, I can just copy and drag the formula down. So I can just go to the fill handle in the bottom right-hand corner of that selected cell, and then hover your mouse over the fill handle until you see a black cross, and then just double click into that cell, and that would copy your formula down, okay, and return the result. Now, what you will find is that for some of the cells, it's returned an error message, right? And I'll explain why that's happened. But for others, it's returned a proper result. So, for example, for this third cell here, okay, it's returned the number 7, which is telling me that the letter E is in the 7th position of that text string. Okay, and you can see in the formula bar as well that the formula has been copied down. Okay, now, why has the other cells returned an error message? So let's look at the second cell. Now, one thing that I did not mention at the start was that this particular function, the find function, is case sensitive. So what I mean by that is, if you look at the formula, okay, I've entered in a lowercase e, but if you look at the text string here, the E is actually a capital letter. So because this function is case sensitive, it's not going to return the result, okay? It will basically return an error message. Now, in this scenario, if you've got data with, a mix of lowercase and capital letters, then what you can do is you can use the search function. Search function is not case sensitive, okay? So it will search lowercase or capital letters based on the character that you enter in the function. So let me show you that. So what you would do, okay, is again, I'm going to click into the first cell. You would type equal and then search, all right, and then you would type open bracket, and you've got the same arguments that you need to complete for this function. So you would enter in defined text, so that's the character that you're looking for. So like in our previous example, we're going to enter the letter E. So I'm just going to go for a lowercase e, so I'm going to put that in quotation marks. So you'd enter quotation mark, then press the letter E, and then close it with another quotation mark. Okay. Then we would put a comma in. Right, now the next argument is within text. So if you remember, within text basically means the text or the cell where you want to do your search in. So where do you want to find this letter E? So we want to look it up in this text string here. Okay, so we're just going to select that cell. All right, and let's put the cell reference number in there. And as I told you before, the start number, which is the last argument of this function, is optional. And it basically means where do you want to, or which position of the character do you want to start your search from? Okay, so if you want to start your search from the beginning of that text string, from the start, you can just leave it blank and put a close bracket to complete the function, and then press enter on your keyboard. Okay, so it's returned the same result, okay, because the letter E in this text string is in fact in, the 16th position of that text string. However, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy and drag this formula down. And what I expect to see is before, whenever I had an error message in the cells, it would return a proper result for me in the search column, okay, using the search function. So let's copy and drag the formula down. So again, you would use the same sort of principle here. You would go to your fill handle, which is in the bottom right hand corner of that selected cell. Hover your mouse over the fill handle until you see a black cross, and then double click, and there you go. So now I have no error messages. Okay, it's returned, every cell has returned a correct result. Okay, and that's because the search function is not case sensitive. So for example, in the second cell, even though the E in that text string is in a capital letter, okay, whereas in my function, it's a small e, a lowercase e, it's still able to search for that particular character and tell me the position it's in that particular text string. All right, so I hope that's made sense. Okay, so find and search are basically the same functions. It's just that find is case sensitive, whereas search isn't. Okay, and then the last one is called REPT. So REPT, what REPT does is it basically repeats a character that you specify in a cell, and you also specify the number of times you want to repeat it. So for example, if you wanted to repeat, say, a hyphen, okay, maybe 10 times, you can do that through a formula. So instead of doing it manually, what you could do is you could just type equal rept. Okay, so it tells you there at the bottom that it repeats text a given number of times. So what you would do is you would type open bracket, okay, and then you can see the arguments that you need to fill. So the first one is text. So you want to specify the text that you want to repeat, which you would put in quotation marks. So you would enter a quotation mark, and I'm just going to put a hyphen in there, okay, and then put another quotation mark. Okay, so you would enter the text that you want to repeat. You would then enter a comma, and then you want to specify the number of times you want to repeat that text. So I'm going to say repeat that 10 times. Okay, and then you would close your bracket and then press enter on your keyboard. And there you go. Okay, so this function, as you saw, repeats text based on the number of times that you specify. So you could do a similar thing with numbers as well. So if you basically, I don't know, had specific ID numbers and that ID number started off with 5 zeros, okay? So what you could do is you could, instead of typing that out manually, you could use this function. So you could type equal rept, open bracket, okay? Now you want to enter the text that you want to repeat. So I'm going to put number 0 in quotation marks. So you would enter quotation mark, the number 0, and then close it with another quotation mark. Then you would type a comma, and then you want to enter in the number of times you want to repeat that 0, which is 5 times. Okay, and then you would close your bracket and then press enter on your keyboard. And there you go. Okay, so that's what the rept function does. All right, so I know I've gone through 4 different functions there in this video. So I hope that's helped. If it has helped, please do like and share the video so that it could reach out to more people. And do consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on any new videos that I upload. All right, guys, so as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.